thanks for everyone who's spoken up to now, telling us all about shitcoins, bitcoins, crypto assets. There is actually a lot more to blockchain, which I want to try and get across today. So I've got 15 minutes, 14 minutes and a half now to kind of get across the other aspects of blockchain that could actually impact you, not necessarily instantly. Everybody's saying blockchain is going to change the world. It might, give it 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. Might not happen instantly, but it might have an impact bit by bit over time. So what I'm going to try and do is demystify the elements outside of crypto assets, Bitcoin, etc., and give you some use cases that might impact you coming up, and then also give you the example where we have a real-life application that is actually live in the Channel Islands with Jersey and Guernsey kind of front-running all of the jurisdictions. So, as I said, everyone thinks very highly of blockchain. Here's a couple of quotes. Once adopted, blockchain will transform the world. Once adopted. Not only will it change the way we do payments, it will change the whole trading and settlement topic. We've just heard about that. But the most common type of quote that we hear, I kind of switched off when I heard about the blockchain stuff. So one of the things that I want to talk about is really about adoption. What is real and what isn't? There's some very clever people here. I had very interesting conversations last night about adoption of blockchain, but what does it mean for you guys? What does it mean about adoption? That's what you want to hear about. So basically, blockchain, quite simply, can be described as a distributed database that maintains a list of records that is far more secure and less risk from tampering than a normal database would be. So, there's everyone's got their views, everyone can explain what blockchain actually is. This is my personal view. Okay, I used to work in banking. I used to do the same jobs as you guys do. I stepped out of that when I actually understood what blockchain was, and I took the leap and started to run a company. I worked it out myself. Okay, so it's what I want you to try and do now. There's 4 pillars. I want you to try and work out yourselves what sort of stuff that blockchain can be used for. So first of all, it's a decentralized database. A centralized database is what you're used to. It's owned, it's controlled by a party, okay? So let's think about hacks within the NHS. The health records get hacked. It's hacked by, it's a central database that, with one point of entry, it's not owned and distributed amongst a bunch of other parties, okay? I could go on and talk about that for ages and ages, haven't got quite that time. A distributed ledger. Everyone knows what a ledger is. We think about accounting. If I want to make a transaction, it goes from one ledger to another. One ledger is debited, another ledger is credited. Let's make it simple. Let's just have one ledger where everyone can be part of, or members can be part of, so they don't have to transact between each other. So this means there doesn't have to be, and it's not just cash. We've spoken about crypto assets, etc. It can be the passing of data. Okay? So what blockchain can do, the distributed ledger aspect, the DLT aspect, distributed ledger technology, can reduce the amount of data flow. And that is a really, really important aspect when you think about efficiencies and process. The third point is the permanent record. So if we go back to a centralized database, an Excel spreadsheet on your desktop, that's a centralized database. You put a bit of data in a cell and then you change it, whether it's a record, a number, some personal data. You have no idea what was in there beforehand. You don't know who changed it, and, well, unless it was you, you don't know what was in there before. But with the blockchain database, it keeps a permanent record of what was changed, who changed it, and when it was changed with the timestamp. Okay? Very, very useful. And the third element, don't challenge me later, any of the tech guys that are here, for kind of defining this incorrectly, a smart contract. If we think about all of the facets, the first three facets, particularly the permanent record bit, we can actually write a digital contract, a real statement of truth that has been verified. Okay, so I'm going to use the example here of perhaps like a car logbook. Okay, so previously you would have like a book, literally like this happened then, that happened then, this happened then. If that was actually put on a blockchain, it's kind of contractual. You know kind of what happened. It's fact. So, as I said, one of the things everybody kind of gets brainwashed over, Bitcoin, blockchain, what's the difference? Blockchain is not Bitcoin. Bitcoin cryptocurrencies use the technology of blockchain. It's a product, okay? So now we want to go through some of the examples of the other products. So these are areas within finance. It's not limited. There's quite a few that are obvious that I've missed off. But these ones are the kind of areas that hopefully now you'll be able to see where blockchain technology might be useful. So trade finance. Trade finance, currently you've got lots of different transactions between lots of different parties. It takes ages, there's delays. If you could put all of that in one little box, get rid of all of the data flows, the cash flows, the decision making, the signing of the contract between different parties, let everyone, all the parties have a view and approve accordingly, make transactions accordingly, etc., etc., then you're going to revolutionize that bit. That's going to take some time though. KYC. So if you think about the KYC process, there's lots of information, again, that needs to be gathered from lots of different parties, and it's like it's important information. You know, you might need to get some identification that then needs to be notarized or something. If this was actually stored and compiled on the blockchain, this would make the whole process a lot more efficient and a lot more secure and a lot more, I guess, correct or stringent. Now, lots of people are doing KYC on the blockchain at the moment. There are some issues with it. The trouble is every organization at the moment seems to have slightly different standards. So if lots of people are doing this with slightly different standards, which blockchain do you choose? So this is one of the problems with adoption that we've got. It's a bit like, for me, it's a bit like the Betamax and VHS. It's like only one of these ones are going to win. But that's a really, really good use case. Private equity. The guys in Guernsey are doing this, PwC and Northern Trust. So maybe slightly ahead of Jersey, or maybe not. That's another really good use case. Decentralized settlement instructions. So I guess you guys might know Alert, Thomson Reuters, where everybody stores their settlement instructions and then can get other people to view them. That would be a lot better if it was actually held on a decentralized settlement instructions. And there's some other products where people are looking into that. OTC agreements, basically documentation. So you might have agreements again, tri-party or more than one multi-party agreements that need to be approved by people. At the moment, it's kind of paper-based. It's like, why not digitize it? Why not just allow the multi-parties to come in and approve those documents? I think things with exotic derivatives, swaps, you'll start seeing some of these products coming on the blockchain. Proxy voting. This is a really good one. So I think at the moment there's like three companies in the UK that basically have a oligopoly, if you like, of this market, which is completely paper-based. So, for example, it's like a listed company needs a vote from shareholders. It's done manually on paper. People need to manually process the documentation and then an update accordingly. You can imagine how much miscounting, etc., is going on and the cost of those to those companies. Stick it on the blockchain, digitizes everything, gets rid of the data flows, everything's super efficient. And signatory management. So probably the least sexy of all of the things that I've just said. Every organization, every large organization needs to manage a list of authorized signatories. Authorized signatories are those people who are responsible on approving something for, on behalf of the organization. The clearest example are bank mandates. So every company has bank accounts, and they usually have a few people who can approve stuff. So every time there's a change required at the moment, documents need to be filled in, they need to be posted or hand-delivered to your bank, then the bank basically scans them into a PDF, and they start updating all of their systems. It takes ages, and it's absolutely awful. So signatory management is another use case which and now here's the shameless plug, we have actually done, and we are selling to customers. So this is, I don't think it's strictly true. Cygnetise may not be the first enterprise blockchain application, but it's very likely to be the first one in the UK or the UK, Jersey, Guernsey, outside of cryptocurrencies that is actually selling a product in live, okay? As I've just said, it's a distributed ledger of authorized signatory lists. Why use the blockchain? So each company can share their data peer-to-peer. You own your own data, so why not use a centralized database? It's like, well, then you have to rely on somebody else. There is somebody who does this. There's another company that does it, but it's ineffective. You also get a full audit trail. Currently now, if somebody was to go back, who was on your signatory list 6 months ago, 2 years ago, whatever, you don't know, because it's all managed on paper. There's no way of actually recording this. So all sorts of issues come up for that. And then, of course, you have the enhanced security. So we are live. There are very few blockchain applications that are available that people are using. These are just some of our customers, so I'm sure there's probably people in the room who are already customers of ourselves. I think most of those are Jersey and Guernsey. I think so. I get confused between the two, sorry. That's it. I think there's, I've got 2 minutes left. I'd rather not ask questions now, but